Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a reading. I am using my Divine Feminine deck for this reading, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that collective who receives this reading. I am watching a Netflix movie called The Glass Onion with like Kate Hudson and I don't know, the other chick that played in How to Lose a Guy in 7 Days. Some other people, I don't really know. But I just thought I would tell you in case it was something that resonated a little bit. Glass Onion specifically. Maybe this is for people with glass ceilings, and I don't mean that in a way that like I'm voting for a woman for president because she's a woman. She's still a cop. Also, today is 022. October 22nd is oftentimes seen and celebrated and upheld for anti-police brutality. So there's lots of protests and activities around justice for police brutality. And also Kamala Harris. Yes, she's a woman, but she's also a cop. And she receives money from AIPAC. So anyway, we are going to be tapping into our Divine Feminine deck. My son would not be on this planet without this deck. I mean, probably. But this deck was very monumental into my son's life, becoming on this physical plane of existence. And this is women who we are going to be seeking some guidance from. I also have my spirit animal deck. No disrespect when we use this, but we are all part of nature and we can all get signs from the animals. Okay, so I already pulled Bridget, the goddess of the eternal flame. I do have candles lit tonight. I am the eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. We've been doing a lot of collective readings about stepping into your power, answering your calling, figuring out what it is that you can do to benefit the human collective, not just the humans, because we've got the animals here too, and of course the plants, the entire planet. All right, I may butcher these names, and I apologize. My Bago, the warrior saint. I am a warrior of love. My devotion attracts resources and support. A lot of yellow and a lot of blue. Blue is your throat chakra. Yellow is your solar plexus. And Bridget had a lot of green, as well as red, yellows, and oranges. So that's kind of rooting into who you are. If we're thinking about the chakras and the colors associated, Bridget is rooting into love, and that eternal flame is above her, but this is also below. This is the lower chakras colors. Red, orange, and yellow are your root, sacral, and solar plexus. So the bottom half of your body. And there's a big saying, as above, so below, about finding that balance, right? And then, ooh, I didn't even peep that. The machete, cutting through the darkness, right? Like the machete is bringing light, speaking your truth, standing in your full power. I love these women. All right. Machik, I have no idea. Labdron, the diamond-hearted Dakini. I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego, beliefs, and to feel free. I see the light in my own darkness. Cutting that light and dark, right? Finding that balance. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. Our egos, so that's calling for an ego death. Collectively, I think a lot of people are. I think we keep doing like these waves of people having ego deaths. Having ego deaths is an essential part of coming into consciousness. You can see it as like an ego rebirth, but ultimately ego is what our society thrives on, the current one that we're living in. It's all about aesthetics. It's very shallow, right? It's not about the depths of who you are, your heart and soul. It's about what you look like. It's about what you have, right? That's what ego is. And then ego is also competing, right? It means that everyone's doing their own thing versus you being so sure of who you are, both outside and inside, and knowing what you're supposed to be doing, path, right? So when we come into consciousness, we do have to go through several ego deaths. That is a part of the decolonizing and shadow work necessary. It's nothing to fear. I think a lot of people run away from that because they don't want to be uncomfortable. That within itself is shadow work. And it's an important source of communication, I guess, right? Because when when we have feelings and we want to avoid them, that's our ego trying to keep us safe. But you should feel your feelings. That's part of who you are, right? And it doesn't define you, but ego deaths can be really intimidating. But ultimately, if you want to be free from other people's perceptions, then you need to release your own as well, right? If you want to be confident in your own abilities, your own skill set, your own path, you can't worry about what other people are saying about you. You have to be comfortable with who you are, and that will take an ego death. Okay. The last one from this deck, Mayo Shan, the Princess of Mercy. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. And we have our first animal. We're going to switch over to that deck, but that's a tiger. I see a lot of red, reddish brown. There's an apple. There's also butterflies, so that symbolizes transformation. The apple, I don't know her personal story because we're not diving that deep in this reading. But the apple could represent Eve, right? The Garden of Eden, Genesis. If that's something I felt like that should be said. Alright, now we're going to do animals. So we already have a tiger. It'll be interesting to see if a tiger comes out. And then do we have any other animals showing up? No. Oh, and butterflies. Butterflies are transformation. Going through an ego death is definitely that. This movie's weird. I really never should have gotten Netflix. Anyway, Brown Bear Spirit, take time out. And what number is that? 9. Luckily it is almost winter, so hibernation can be a thing. I am drinking wine in a Paw Patrol cup, so Paw Patrol could also be significant. Here's my Paw Patrol. Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. Number 31 boils down to 4. 4 elements, 4 seasons, 4 directions. And the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. I tell Niall all the time, you keep doing the same thing. Albert Einstein said it first. Well, probably not first. But he is coined for the topic, or for the quote. And that is, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. Capitalism breeds insanity, but like in an orderly way. Like, so people who don't do the same thing over and over every day, i.e. corporate, are seen as the crazy ones, but really, yeah, okay. Then we have Buffalo Spirit, the abundant universe will provide. Number 10, that is a completion, an ending. So that could be speaking to that ego death that you're going through. And I want to pull one more animal. Here it is again, the butterfly spirit. Transformation is beautiful. So there's that butterfly here. Sorry, my lighting sucks. The butterfly has to go through a dark night of the soul, just like everyone else. If you're not familiar with that term, it's essentially an ego death. There's lots of different terms for essentially the same processes. Going into the cocoon, you know, turning into goo and then growing wings and shit. It's a dark ass process. It takes time. You have to prepare for it. And then it's inevitable. You will have to go through that if you want to transition into the next phase of your life. I think that this reading is really important because at this time we're seeing a lot of, if you're on TikTok, I don't know what side of TikTok you're on, but I'm seeing a lot of divisions. Race divisions are being drawn. And then there's a lot of like political flagging. There's a better word for that. There's people like calling each other out because of the election coming up. What you need to understand and hold so close to your heart is that both of the candidates for the Democrats and Republican Party are receiving money from AIPAC. AIPAC is Israel. All of the people who are currently holding a position in the government in this country, United States, and people around the world pay attention to this because it does affect them at home because of the United States' foreign policy, right? However, both of these candidates are receiving funding from a foreign government. That means that the entire system has been compromised. Not only by Israel, but also by corporations. BlackRock and Vanguard own everything. Here in my town, we have a Safeway grocery store, and it is being turned into a Kroger, the Kroger branch for out west. And there's entire monopolies, right? You know, express your voting powers and privileges if you so choose. But first of all, both candidates have the same fucking, they're all in the same, they're all in it together. So you don't need to be destroying each other because of disagreements, you know. And I understand the conversations about, oh, you support Trump, he's racist or whatever, and you're not safe. You know what? They're both not going to make you safe. Both candidates, right? And so the point of this whole conversation is stop pointing at other people, have your ego death, go in your cocoon, figure out your own shit, and stop virtue signaling. That's the word. Virtue signaling to everyone else, you know, when your shit stinks too, right? And we can take advice from those who have come before us. We can see the way that people have handled these things before. We can learn more about stuff, but it's gonna take all of us in order to actually make some change, right? The people do hold the power. There are billions more of us than them, right? They have money, they have the organization, but we have people power. And so it is important for everyone to remember that the universe will provide when you step into your alignment of making this world better. The planet itself is trying to fight back, right? Is fighting back. And you can call it whatever you want, if it's a political thing, if it's a conspiracy. Bottom line is it's happening. People are being affected. And neither candidate is going to do anything for us, right? It's all about what we can do for them, right? JFK said that. And I always wondered why everyone thought that was such a good saying, because I'm like, that's so ass backwards, especially for his political stance, right? I don't believe you should ask what you can do for your government, especially when you're paying taxes, more taxes than corporations. What the fuck are they going to do for us, right? And how do we hold them accountable? By taking care of our own shit, right? Like reconnecting back to ourselves, heeding the call, stepping into your power, and stop pointing the finger at other people who are victims of the same system. It's going to require us all to create new ways of being. And it has been done before. So if you lose hope in anything, don't. Just do the work. Just do the work. Just look within. Figure out where you're perpetrating these systems. Figure out in the spaces where you feel like you're, completely self-righteous and everyone else sucks. Balance that out. That's it. Balance it out. And take the advice from both these divine feminines and the animals. Decide the future. Try and visualize the future that you would enjoy. And I think also recognizing the cyclical nature of lack of sustainability that capitalism and colonialism are, right? And think about, do you legit enjoy doing everything the same as everyone else, having everything the same as everyone else, having your houses be all the same stuff, doing the same trends, but like thinking you're better than people? Do you honestly enjoy that, or do you see a different way of being? And then look to the folks who are initiating that leadership, and follow suit. Do the work. All right, that went a different direction, but I felt called to fucking do that. Ew. This is like a murder mystery. There's a lot of murder mysteries in entertainment nowadays. It's very weird. And yes, I watch them. Okay, have a good one.